The vegan diet and testosterone masculinity, let's get into it. So what's going on? Alex here, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about veganism. So I got an email from a good friend of mine in regards to veganism and his experience with being a vegan. So he sent me an email and I'm going to go through the entire email. I'm going to dissect it. I'm going to tell you exactly what he did wrong. I'm going to talk about the vegan diet and so on. So let's get into it. So I'm just going to read out the email. I'm just going to commentate over it. So from mid 2017 to the fall of 2019, I was a vegan. I am writing my experience in the hopes that I can serve and wake up call to the dangers and risk of plant-based diet. I put myself under unnecessary suffering because I choose a lifestyle based on self-righteousness and misinformation. So let's be real, like if you're a vegan and you're trying around with different diets, you're not an evil person, you're just a truth seeker. Just don't let the pride kick in of not being in a position where you think you know it all. Always be in a position where you're always open to learn. I've been working with a lot of individuals, and sometimes I get older guys joining my coaching and I'm like, do this because based on my experience, but they won't because they're playing not to lose. So if there is a business, the initial 50,000 you make is geometric growth because you're playing to win. You're doing everything to succeed. And once you accomplish a small amount of results, now you're playing not to lose because you're afraid. And all the things that got you to $50,000 might not get you to the next level, but you're holding on to those things. So you need to be always playing to win. You always need to be taking risks and trying different things. And that's the biggest thing. That comes from pride. Okay, so in mid 2017, I came across a book called The Miracle Detox by Dr. Robert Morse. He mentioned all these healing benefits that come with raw plant-based diet. During this time, I was curious and hungry to learn about the truth. I was a young Christian and I had no one in my community who could teach me, guide me, or keep me grounded in God's word. Therefore, I was at a risk of being led astray, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, you have to be careful out there. They come to you, beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruit. You see all these governmental officials, these public figures of they're the leaders of the health department, and they're going bald and they're overweight, and you're like, you're meant to be teaching me about health. Nice one. As someone who grew up with pets, I have always been compassionate towards animals. You pair this with my desire to become healthier, I decided that the best decision for me was to become vegan. This gave me the emotional drive to get rid of animal-based products. Ooh. Yeah, and that's amazing. Like, I see the perspective of individuals, they love animals and they want to keep them alive. Like, I understand that, I'm all for it. But you need to realize that comes from like low testosterone. Think about it back in the days. When you're a man, your testosterone is just surging out. You're just full of testosterone. You're just like this man. You don't care about these things. You just want to kill an animal and eat it, provide it for your family because you're in a state of scarcity. Now we just have all this abundance of food and so on and so forth. And men are becoming weak and they're like, oh, I'm super emotional. I want to keep this animal alive because so on and so forth. Like if you look at the Old Testament, the Jews had to sacrifice a lamb. So basically when someone sinned, you would have to take a lamb, a pure lamb, and live with it for 3 days to build an emotional attachment to it. And then you would kill it for your sins. So that was God's way of teaching you that when you sin, it hurts God and it it's heavy, so you shouldn't just blindly sin. So I developed an obsession with veganism. Sadly, this leads me down a path of sickness, weakness, and shame. Yeah, like veganism is a very dangerous cult. I know because my little sister was a vegan, but she's no longer a vegan as well. As soon as I made the switch, I went completely cold turkey on animal products. I never counted my calories during this time. That's a big no-no because what gets measured gets accomplished. Especially when you want to optimize your metabolic rate, you need to eat enough calories to sustain your energy. The reason why your hair is falling out, you have no energy, is because you're in a low metabolic state. And you're teaching your body how to live on low energy. Like when you have a car, like do you know the low energy mode on your phone? That's like 99% of you are living on the low battery percentage mode on your phone. It's like laggy, it's low performance, the quality is bad. That's all of you. That's literally a perfect example. Do you know when you were a kid and like all the lights were like, life just felt like life, colors felt like colors, smell felt like you felt things because you're living at a peak metabolic state. Now you're just living on battery saver mode. That's why you feel the way you feel. My diet consisted of legumes, such as lentils, beans, rice, quinoa, cereal, and so all sorts of vegetables and fruit. If you're in my masterminds, you're probably laughing right now because you know all these things I say not to eat because they will lower your testosterone levels. All these things contain phytic acid, anti-nutrients, things that deplete your body from your micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals. They lead into higher micronutrient deficiencies. For you to have high testosterone levels, you need to fix your micronutrient deficiencies. So eating these things constantly is going to mess you up. I also included so-called fake vegan meats, such as vegan burgers and vegan sausages. They're full of soy. Soy contains phytoestrogens, and phytoestrogens mimic estrogen in your body. I cooked many homemade vegan dishes, such as vegan curries, stir fries, vegan cakes, etc. I drank almond milk, coconut, and oat milk. So almond milk is high in polyunsaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fats have many bonds. When you consume them, they oxidize due to our body heat. They oxidize due to light and heat. When they oxidize, they cause oxidative stress, which lowers testosterone levels. Oat milk contains beta glucan, whatever it is. I'll be rapping over here. Beta glucan, which lowers your cholesterol levels, and cholesterol is an essential piece, like it's a material which your body uses to produce testosterone in your Leydig cells in your testicles. So your body takes cholesterol in your Leydig cells in your testicles and produces testosterone. That's why you see all these movements of like, oh, you should lower your cholesterol levels. Cholesterol is the equivalent of blaming the firemen for the fire because they were there. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. On a weekly basis, I would make a protein shake with a raw vegan protein powder from the company called Sun Warrior. I use their goji berry flavor. I would include this with 1 banana, 350 milligrams of almond milk, crushed oats, peanut butter, frozen berries. Peanut butter is high in polyunsaturated fats and phytic acid will lower your testosterone. I would make a daily fruit juice, lemon, ginger, apple, banana, frozen berries and water. That's actually not bad. I would actually try that. For the first couple of months after being vegan, I felt noticeably lighter because you're most likely eating in a caloric deficit. Imagine, like that's one thing about like ketogenic diet, this, that, elimination diets. Yeah, no shit. If I remove an entire type of food from your diet, obviously you're gonna lose weight because you just can't eat it. Like keto, if you remove an entire macronutrient group, no way you're gonna lose weight. But that's just a tactic. The principle is a caloric deficit. I felt noticeably lighter. The Christian showed me pictures like he was a skinny fella. I was slowly losing weight. My lifestyle was very active, as I would strength train 3 times a week, as I had always done prior to becoming vegan. Throughout the rest of 2017, I noticed how I would feel dizzy or extremely fatigued after most of my workouts. That's like blood pressure issues. As time went on, I would get increasingly tired and went from being able to lift for 1 hour at a gym to being totally fatigued within 25 minutes. Eventually, I would cut my workouts down to the bare minimum. I didn't lift heavier and I was starting to feel weaker. Yeah, because most likely you're eating in a caloric deficit because you're losing weight. And when you're in a caloric deficit, you're basically starving your body, and your body's like, we need to find a way, like low battery mode. It's gonna get rid of the luxuries like your energy, drive, muscle building. It's just gonna focus on just keeping you alive. So your body's gonna find a way to, when you are in a caloric deficit, let's say you're walking somewhere and there's a way to get up the stairs, your body's gonna be like, oh, get the elevator instead. Your body's gonna play tricks on you to use less energy because your body is smart. That's why it's very smart for you, if you're trying to lose weight, lose body fat specifically, is counting how many steps you're taking, how many calories you're taking, and what gets measured gets accomplished. Where did I stop? Couple vegan from December. From December 2017 to February 2018, my body began to show symptoms that at the time I couldn't explain. I would feel usually cold, which is basically low metabolic state. All the blood is going to the organs to keep you alive. My body temperature was dropping. When your body temperature is dropping, that means your body is not producing energy. When you're producing heat as energy, that means your body's in a wasteful metabolic state. That means your body is producing heat. It's like the most abundant state your body is in when you're producing heat. When you have a meal and you feel cold afterwards, or you're tired, that's not good. It either means that food caused a stress response, or you were in a stress state and that meal relaxed you, hence why you're like kind of relaxed. Temperature was dropping and my toes looked bloated, inflamed and red. I had no explanation. All I knew was that my body was changing. This went away when the weather warmed up. Throughout the early months of 2018, my girlfriend's family mentioned that I looked very skinny and asked me if I had issues sleeping, as I had very dark circles under my eyes, which I didn't even notice until they pointed it out. Micronutrient deficiencies kicking in. During mid-2018, I began to get very bad skin suddenly, gut issues, by eating all the rabbit food. I used to have very clear skin, and seemingly out of nowhere, I began to see red spots on my face. My gums would bleed and recede slightly too. This is when I started to get worried, so I started taking a B12 supplement, as I figured I must have some type of deficiency. Yeah, B12, not a bad one. Throughout the rest of 2018, things did not seem to get any better. Despite the fact I was taking vitamin B12, everything seemed to deteriorate. I began to feel hunger, and even after eating large meals, I still felt like I was starving. My stomach looked bloated. Another thing with vegan diets, they're very high in fiber, and high fiber diets increase your SHBG levels, which means they lower your free testosterone levels as well. And my face looked very skinny with dark circles, red spots, etc. I started to feel tired, weak and sluggish. Yeah, your body's just shutting down, mate. From December 2018 to February 2019, the same pattern followed. My toes became swollen and inflamed, and I became very cold. This went away when the weather heated up. Okay. At the start of 2019, I become emotional, jumpy and reactive. Yeah, when you have a high estrogen, it feels like it's like an station of energy. You're just like very uncontrollable energy. That's why I talk about when you have high testosterone levels, you're very calm. Even you can sit in the fire. But with that, it's like the energy controls you. It's like stress. Became emotionally jumpy and reactive. I stopped getting morning wood, low testosterone, and I lost all sex drive. When you're in a detrimental state, the last thing your body wants to think about is reproduce. All it thinks about is keeping you alive. I will also mention that during this time, I was doing intermittent fasting as well. That's another one. So a lot of individuals think intermittent fasting cures cancer and it's like amazing and shit. But to be honest, intermittent fasting is just a tool in the toolbox. I actually done intermittent fasting for 3 years when I started my journey. And intermittent fasting teaches your body to have a low metabolic state. The reason why intermittent fasting works is if you're eating shitty foods and you just stop eating those shitty foods, obviously you're going to feel better in the morning. And you're feeding your endotoxins, so on and so forth. But if you have a peak metabolic state and you wake up and you have a meal, you have more energy. You know, it's like intermittent fasting is not that, like the reason why intermittent fasting works for so many people is because so many people are just messed up. My hair became very frail and thin, okay? I struggled with sleeping as I always felt hungry. And my mood became very erratic. Key low testosterone symptoms, low thyroid, so on and so forth. These events really took a toll on my self-esteem. Because of this, I became a lukewarm Christian and I stopped prioritizing God. My health was ruined and I was too lost in veganism to admit how badly this was affecting me. Yeah, sometimes you're so deep into it, like God lets you to fall into your own delusions. Because pride kicks in, you know? You see these people, they're like, go on their knees every night. God, show me the way to do this. And then someone comes up and God works through them. And God uses other people to communicate with you. You have to get rid of the pride. Like you'll be surprised. Listen to the people that talk to you, even friends. God, that's how God uses people. If you really listen to people, you'll be surprised. Mid-2019, my grades at university began to drop. I had some very tough law exams and I could barely focus. I had zero mental strength to focus on my studies. All I wanted to do was just sit in my room and not move. I became weak. Yes, so you're in a low metabolic state. Your body's like, you have gut issues, hence why you have poor brain issues. A clear gut is a clear mind, which you did not have. People ask me if I was a drug addict because I look so skinny. This was a wake-up call. My family, friends, and my girlfriend at the time would tell me I needed to quit the vegan diet, but I simply bit back and defended myself because of the health benefits and how it saved animals. I was very diluted and my body and mind were suffering because of the choices I made. During the fall of 2019, I began to question myself. My body was screaming at me to make a change and I could no longer ignore it. I weighed myself to find I only weighed 49 kilograms. My body was wasting away. In August of 2019, I was at my friend's farm and I decided to try some of their eggs. After all, it was time for a change, right? To this day, I will never forget it. The first egg I ate on the 30th of August 2019, he has the date down, remains the best egg I have ever eaten. After that moment, I began eating chicken, turkey, fish, eggs, and beef. Yeah, when your body craves things like that, it means it's like compensating. It needs it. I remember when I done a 72-hour fast, I broke it with a carrot. Best tasting carrot I ever had in my life. Because you're very sensitive to it. He was probably in a caloric deficit all this time. Because it kind of sounds like it. During this time, I apologized to all my family members, girlfriend, and friends to whom I have shoved my vegan propaganda down their throat. It was the least I could do. God really used this experience to humble me. I had gotten my masculinity back and utilized my newfound drive and energy to help others. I also began to reconnect with Christ, and I started relearning relationships in October 2019. Throughout the month of September 2019, my health seemed to immediately transform. My libido returned, my weight slowly improved, no more fatigue or starvation, my mood stabilized. After a few more months to 2020, my skin fully cleared up, I could lift heavier, mental clarity returned, my hair became thicker and healthier, no more bleeding gums, no more bloated gut. During the winter, my toes were totally normal and I didn't feel any cold. My weight picked back up and my face cleared up completely, just how it looks today. No more dark circles. As of right now, in 2022, I eat plenty of red meat, eggs, raw milk, full fat butter, chicken, fish, pork, cheese, vegetables, and my daily fruit juice and feel amazing. I'm back to full health. Looking back at my experience, I would urge anyone who is considering going plant-based or who is currently vegan to take a moment to assess their health. Sooner or later, your body will begin to suffer the same way I did. If I had stayed vegan, I could have very well ended up in the hospital or with even more serious health problems. It's only by the grace of God I managed to turn my health back into the right direction. I give full consent to share my experience with everyone. Amazing. So veganism is an interesting one. Veganism uses this theory. Let's just say you take a wild vegan, grass-fed organic vegan, and he eats his food, whatever, vegetables, fruits, grass, rabbit food, and then and that individual cares about his health, goes to the gym, whatever, and they do some studies, blood work, whatever, on that individual, and it's okay, and they compare him to a meat eater. But they just take a random meat eater off the street that doesn't care about his health, so on and so forth, and they compare it to them, and boom, veganism is apparently better. I highly recommend you think for yourself. Like, you see all these studies about like soy is good for you, is all sponsored by Soy Joy, so on and so forth. I highly recommend you do your thinking, like really assess, like trial and error, like look, like Japan, the men are very feminine and they drink a lot of green tea, and then you look at research, oh, green tea actually lowers your testosterone levels. So you keep digging into it and really assess what's going on. Yeah, like veganism is just built upon propaganda. It uses things like from the Bible when it says at the start, eat the fruit, so on and so forth. But then if you go a few chapters up, it talks about, but now I give you all the meat to eat and the animals and so on and so forth. So obviously, if you're a vegan and you went through a journey of veganism, you're in a low metabolic state. So you're in a low battery mode. The number one thing you want to do is just focus on eating fruit, roots, animal products, organic, good fat, tallow, coconut oil, eat in a caloric surplus, and slowly ramp up your calories. Eat plenty of honey, sugar. Don't be afraid of those things. These things are octane fuel to you. I highly recommend you study people like Ray Peat. Count your calories, because what gets measured gets accomplished. Eat a medium amount of protein. Don't be eating all proteins. Amazing. Like, protein is just another way of propaganda to sell you things. Eat plenty of carbohydrates, fat for fat soluble vitamins, fix your micronutrient deficiencies, and keep eating a lot. Feed your body, have plenty of exercise. If I was in that position, I would maybe train twice a week, strength train, nothing too crazy, just to get the testosterone going, and just focus on eating enough, getting my body into a state of abundance. I wouldn't train a lot, because you're still in a stress state, and ride that wave. With that wave, you're gonna start noticing potentially some things coming up, because now your body is in a faster state. It's producing a lot of energy, so it's like speeding up the things that the the damage which the vegan diet has caused you. So you need to just go through it. And after a while, you're going to be in a state of like, I feel amazing. And then you just optimize the foods that you eat, you move forward, and whatever your goal is, then you just troubleshoot. That's why when it comes to my coaching, I do like a mastermind, because it's super individual. There's no way I can just write a program and be like, follow this. It's very individual, but I can assess, okay, you're experiencing those symptoms, do this. These symptoms, do this. So yeah, if you're interested in working with me to reclaim your masculinity, I'm going to leave a link down below. So the video cut off to book a call. Just to summarize the video, don't go vegan. If you want to send me an email for me to go over your experience, send me an email at alex@fedursky.com, alex@fedursky.com. Thank you, Christian, for letting me go over the email, and give the video a like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you later. Peace.